Now let's see how you can configure VS Code on your laptop or on your computer to work with your Salesforce org for the Salesforce development. For that, what I'll do, I'll go to browser and I'll search for Salesforce CLI for VS Code. Search this Salesforce CLI for VS Code. Here you will get a trailhead art, Visual Studio Code for Salesforce. And here you will get some useful links like this. I'll skip this for now. Okay. Here first it asks to install the CLI. I'll open this link. It talks about some system requirements and it asks for the extension. But before that, before we install this extension, we need the VS Code. I'll search for VS Code and it ends with Visual Studio Code that you have to download. You have to download it for Windows if you are using Windows. Otherwise, if you are using Mac, you have to download it for Mac. So in order to start developing using VS Code for the Salesforce, you need two things. First is VS Code and the Salesforce CLI extension. So here I'll download the VS Code first. It is downloaded. It is getting downloaded. Okay, it got downloaded. I'll just open that downloaded file. Which will start my installation process for the VS Code. I just choose the options as per your convenience. Okay, I want to create a desktop icon. Then okay, it will start installing my VS Code in my machine. Okay, it has started. It will take couple of seconds or sometimes a minute or two to get downloaded and installed the VS Code. Meanwhile it gets downloaded, you should always be optimized. You should always have an optimized development process at your end so that you can speed up the Salesforce development. Okay, it is finished. It is done. You can click on this finish icon and the VS Code will launch now. Since I'm just demoing it, we already have, I already had a VS Code installed in this, and I just uninstalled it for the demo purpose, and that's how it is. Now what do I need to do? I need to download the extension. I'll click install. And again, first prerequisite is to have a VS Code in your in your system, that we already did. The second part is to get the Salesforce Extension Pack for developing for the Salesforce. So you have to install it, and when you click on this installation part, it will ask to open the VS Code because this extension will be installed within the VS Code. So as I said, I had already set it up, so it got activated because I already had it installed. But in case you don't have it, you have to follow the same steps to install it in your in your VS Code. Now since we have the extension pack installed, I think we have everything up and running. Now since you are in the new window, you'll see the extension here. Search for the Salesforce. You see all these extensions are there. So when you when you want to assure that whether my Salesforce extension pack got installed or not, you have to come here in under the extensions section of your VS Code. You have to check the list of extensions, and you see these are all installed here. So these are the two things that are prerequisite to get your VS Code up and running against your Salesforce org. So we have completed it. Now there is a command that you have to do, or that you have to perform to create your project for your org in the VS Code. In just one tip here, or one insight, whenever you work with VS Code, you have to create a project first, then link that project with Salesforce org to perform your tasks. So in order to create a project, there is a command, or that you have to there is a command that you have to execute. It is, you have to click Control Shift P on your keyboard. So this window will open. Then once you have your Salesforce Extension Pack installed, you will get this option, SFDX Create Project. What will you get? SFDX Create Project. Click that, select that option, hit enter. It will ask which kind of project you want to create. There are three types: standard, empty, or analytics. For the general Salesforce development, standard type of project template is preferred. So choose the standard and give a name to your project. I will give it a simple name like LS Academy. That stands for Long Switch Academy. I'll hit enter, and then it will ask where you want to save your project. I will select D drive. I'll select new folder. I'll give it a name LSA, and I'll hit create folder. So now my Salesforce project is up and running. You see it? This is the basic structure of your Salesforce project when you work with VS Code on your machine. I hope you are following along and you are getting the idea. Now this is the basic folder structure. This is the name of your project. Then this Force app is the directory which has a folder called main. Inside main you have a folder called default, and within the default you have different components of the Salesforce development, such as Aura applications, Aura components, classes represents your Apex class, then other types of elements like LWC, objects, permission sets, like that. Now our project is up and running, and once you see this option, no default org is set, which means your extensions also have been loaded successfully. Now we have completed two parts. We have installed the prerequisite software such as VS Code and the Salesforce Extension Pack. Then as the second step, we have created a Salesforce project. The third step is to authenticate or connect your Salesforce org with the VS Code. For that, what we will do, we'll select here this no default org set, and then we'll choose a command, authorize an org, and here we'll choose production login.salesforce.com. If you are using a developer org, you can choose this. If you are using a sandbox, use a sandbox, or if you have a specific custom URL for your org, choose custom. So I'll use production and I'll give it a name. Always name your organization LS Academy Demo. Give a proper no against which org you are using the VS Code. Hit enter. That will open the browser for you, which will ask you to enter your Salesforce credentials. I already have mine saved here, that's why it is not asking me. But in case your org credentials are not saved on the browser, you have to be ready with them and provide the username and password here and hit login. Upon successful login, this extension will show a message like authentication successful, like you have successfully logged in. Go back to your VS Code in your project and see that you got this message, authorization and org ran successfully. So this is the entire process of authenticating, like installing the required softwares, creating a project, then authenticating it against your org. Now just to test whether this connection has been established successfully or not, we will create a sample Apex class to demonstrate that okay, it is actually working. So for creating a class, there is a command, Control Shift P, press Control Shift P on your on your keyboard. This model will open. Search for Apex. There is a command, create sfdx create Apex class. Select that command. This will ask you to enter the name for your Apex class. I'll name it like LSA underscore sample class from VS Code, just to demonstrate that this class was created from a VS Code. I'll enter and it will give you a predefined schema for your class. Now what I'll do, I'll add some method to it, one method to it. It will be public static string, and I'll name it as sample method. This editor comes with suggestions and all. You see, it auto completed my method. So this method comes with a IntelliSense kind of attribute, which automatically gives you suggestions based as you start typing your code. So this is the one benefit that you get. Other than that, this also allows you to format your code automatically. For example, let me show this to you. I'm writing this code and now I want to format it. So what I'll do, I'll right click on the editor and I'll format document it. Format document with or helper, like that. These are the again the extensions that you have to install within your within your VS Code to do the formatting for you, but it has the capability that you can leverage. Now my method is ready, and here the simple method is what it does. It will accept one string parameter, return this string, and it will return the same string parameter back to the caller method, which is calling it. It is a basic example, nothing more than that. Now you know the command for creating an Apex class. Now we have to deploy this to the org. In order to deploy any of the component from your VS Code to your org, you have to right click on it and there is an option, deploy this source to org. This command will help you to deploy your changes from VS Code to your Salesforce developer org. Select this option. Here it will show the status. Either it will fail or it will pass. But here in this case, it got passed. Deploy this source to org successfully ran, which means this class has been deployed successfully to your developer org. Now you wonder, how do I make sure that whether it runs successfully or not? There is a way. Go to your org, look for in the quick find setup, look for in the setup quick find, look for the classes, the option Apex classes, and I think Apex classes here, and I will look for a class with LSA. So here it is. You see, sample class from VS Code. Let's open it, and this is the source code that we had modified. So with this, we have successfully created a class via VS Code and deployed it to the org. Now the next thing you might wonder, how do I modify this class from the VS Code, and how would I make sure that it is like reflecting the current changes? For that, go back to your code, create a sample method, modify your method, or maybe modify your class or something. Let's say I add another method, sample method 2. I'll name it as sample method 2. I think my number lock is off. I'll name it as sample method 2. Again, I have saved my changes. You see, you have to save your changes by pressing Ctrl S. You can save it. Ctrl S to save the changes. Then I am right clicking on it and selecting this deploy this source to org. This got deployed. I go back to my org, refresh my class. And here you have it. So it is pretty simple. Just make the changes in the VS Code, deploy it, check in the org. Like that you can use VS Code for the continuous development with the efficient development strategies, like using proper formatters, like using version control as you move forward with your development journey. So I think with this we are done with explaining how to install VS Code, Salesforce Extension Pack, how to create a project within the on your local machine, how to authenticate an org with the VS Code, then how to create your first FX class and deploy it to Salesforce using VS Code. I hope this tutorial will be helpful to you. If you have learned a bit or some new information from this video, do let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe to Long Switch Academy, share it with your friends, and click on that notification bell so that you never miss an update from us. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing with Long Switch Academy.